All right, Krystal, what's on your radar?
Well, it is yet to be seen whether Hillary Clinton's eventual endorsement will be at all helpful to the lucky candidate who receives it, but we can now say for certain that her anti-endorsement is in fact tremendously helpful. Hillary's smearing of Tulsi as a Russian asset has given Tulsi's campaign a needed boost. In fact, a new poll has her at 6% in New Hampshire. That puts her just behind only the top 4 of Biden, Warren, Buttigieg, and Sanders. Still waiting for the neoliberal celebrations that a woman of color is surging at a key moment in the race. By the way, top-tier Kamala managed only 1%. So all of this means that Hillary not only gave Tulsi an assist in qualifying for next week's debate, she's also put her right on the cusp of the heightened December debate criteria. Tulsi now only needs one more poll at 4% or better to make it into that round as well. At this point, she seems pretty likely to get it since she's got an entire month to accomplish that. Keep in mind, of the approximately 379,000 or so candidates who ran for the Democratic nomination, only 6 have so far qualified for that December debate, so it's really nothing to sneeze at. The accomplishment is made, of course, even more impressive by the fact that the media and the Democratic establishment have done absolutely everything they possibly can to try to destroy Tulsi. They've called her childhood weird. They accused her of being in a cult, questioned her patriotism at literally every instance, and insinuated that she is a white nationalist, which is weird since she's of Samoan descent and was the first Hindu to serve in Congress. Just take a look at this recent exchange with Joy Behar, where rather than talk about her policies, she instead has to explain that, no, she's not a Russian asset or a useful idiot, and defend her willingness to go on Fox News.
Some of you have accused me of being a traitor to my country, a Russian asset, a Trojan horse, or a useful idiot, I think was the term that you used. Which basically means that I'm naive or lack intelligence to know what's going on.
They use that.
Joy, this is why.
I mean, you're on
here.
Tucker Carlson at least 10 times. Why don't you go on Chris Wallace's show?
This is why I'm here, because you and other people continue to spread these innuendos that have nothing to do with who I am.
Well, Hillary Clinton started it, and then you shot back at her, boy. You called her the queen of warmongers.
You doubled down, unfortunately, you doubled down on the baseless accusations that she made that strikes at the core of who I am.
Again, you may have valid critiques of Tulsi's policies. That's fine, but this has been something else entirely. Ever since she dared resign from the DNC and back Bernie over Hillary, the establishment has been doing their level best to silence her. That she's managed to achieve some momentum in spite of all that shows you just how persistent she is and just how weak and feckless they are. They can't even crush one dissenter, and the other guy that they loathe is the most adored politician in the country with the biggest crowds, most donors, and greatest enthusiasm. There's some additional data of note in this poll as well, though. In New Hampshire, which has an open primary system, Tulsi does extraordinarily well with independents. In fact, she's tied with Elizabeth Warren for independent support. In addition, she does very well with those who describe themselves as moderate or conservative. Now, Tulsi's spot on the traditional ideological spectrum is kind of hard to peg because her views are heterodox. So at the same time that she's finding support with self-described conservatives, her supporters also tell pollsters overwhelmingly that their second choice is Bernie Sanders, who is, of course, the only true leftist in the race. So the first thing that I would say about that is for many voters, establishment versus anti-establishment is really a more important barometer than the typical left-right spectrum, or maybe authentic versus inauthentic, or principled versus pandering. We see it literally every day on this show. There is a massive group of Americans whose first commitment is to ending the disgusting bipartisan consensus of corruption, corporatism, and war profiteering that has so damaged our nation. But there was something else I found really amusing here. So all day long, every day, we're told by the Times and the Post and CNN and MSNBC and everyone who ever goes on Morning Joe that to win, we must appeal to moderate voters. Gotta pick a centrist who can win over those indies and those more conservative voters. We're told all the time that we should just throw our principles to the wind and back whoever has the best chance of beating Donald Trump because otherwise Nazis. Well, here you go. Here's a candidate with genuine crossover support from Republicans and independents and moderates and conservatives, a veteran, a woman of color, the youngest woman ever to serve in the Hawaii State Legislature. Come on, establishment. Isn't she everything you told us we should want in a candidate? Yes, I know you don't like her, but remember, we're supposed to suck it up and vote for the electable candidate no matter what. Otherwise, you're a bot or a Putin puppet or a traitor or whatever. And if you don't just automatically line up behind that person because of unity, then also you love Trump. So I've been waiting for the establishment Democratic punditocracy to come together and announce their support of Tulsi, since, just judging by this crossover support, she may well be the most electable candidate. Still waiting for the elite media to switch from writing deep dives speculating on Tulsi's nefarious motives to puff pieces on how she may well be a female Obama. Because just like CNN's Jeff Zeleny said about Pete Buttigieg, quote, both represent a fresh face and are calling for change. I mean, both Tulsi and Obama did run on anti-war platforms. Obama didn't exactly deliver on that, but whatever. Someone get a camera crew to New Hampshire fast. Weirdly, and I know you're going to be shocked by this, it would appear that Tulsi's bipartisan and moderate support is being used as yet another way to dismiss her candidacy. Here's Nate Silver, quote, Tulsi is the choice of people who plan to vote in the Democratic Party but don't like Democrats and most of the things Democrats stand for. Personally, I thought that candidate was Amy Klobuchar. Anyway, congrats to Tulsi on her campaign's upswing and on her success in getting all the right people to hate her. Sagar, couldn't be more beautiful.
No, it really couldn't, especially with Kamala Harris down at 1%. I did like the way you put it. I mean, yeah, she's the one who's most electable, right? She's the one who has the most crossover support. I mean, I'm always like, wow, I can't believe that somebody in the Democratic race is like, I'm against open borders and third trimester abortion, and she has like all these heterodox stances. That's actually kind of where the middle of the country lies, right? I mean, so why not follow through on their own? Oh, it's because she stands up to the establishment on the one area that actually matters.
Yeah, it's not that they disagree with her, like, principle. They don't care. Yeah. I mean, they do disagree with the anti-war stance because there's a lot of money to be made in war, so that's a problem. And then the fact that she dared to buck the DNC, that's a problem. So none of the other rules apply to her. I also love how she's never talked about as a woman of color. No, ever. Yeah, never. That's never celebrated.
And the same with the religion. I mean, none of it is ever celebrated. It's all like smears against her family or her father or her upbringing, or I mean, it just goes to show how much of a farce of the lens of their analysis is. It's like you said, Jeff Zeleny has the gall to be like, oh, he's a fresh face, and he says change. It's like, is this a joke? Like, yeah, it's like that's the most ridiculous. I mean, it's just such surface level BS, and that is legitimately how they think about it.
I actually entertained the fantasy this morning. I was like, what if we took a rising crew to New Hampshire and just asked voters, is she a female Obama? Until one of them was like, absolutely, fresh face calling for change, and we could make a whole package around it. And then everyone's heads would literally explode.
Go ahead. Yeah, well, we can do the same thing. That's how stupid your analysis is whenever it comes to looking at who the next Obama is. Ultimately, why is she doing 6% in New Hampshire? That's because a lot of these people are fed up with Hillary Clinton. They are fed up with the war. And what they like most in particular is her willingness and her courage to just stand up, and no matter what the consequences are. I mean, people underestimate how difficult that is in Washington, in the media, the amount of money that would have flown to her if she had stayed and, towed the DNC line. She'd be a star forever. She'd be in Congress for like 30 years. But she said no. She actually stood up and said that she's not going to do it.
And that's the thing that I fundamentally respect about her. Look, all the things you said you like about her are the things I don't like about her. But I so respect that she's willing to stand her ground in this very difficult place. And that's why she's got more support than a lot of senators, congressmen, governors, et cetera, in spite of the fact that the media and the Democratic establishment have done everything they can to crush her.
That's right.
All right, Sagar, looking forward to yours next.